3. HQ itself is easy to find. I spotted it on the train before we reached the station. It's 1,000 feet tall, and the only building in the world with such a design. It's ugly, I've always maintained that, but no less impressive. Iris, the giant eyeball, is alive and blinking as always. Within the few seconds of me spotting it, it changes to a globe of the Earth, and everyone in the city knows the next image will be an analog clock. This part of the building was officially named the Socket, by Cornelius Morgan, who designed and engineered it. It's a giant glass sphere that swells from the neck of the building, encasing a holographic image that alternates between Iris, the globe, and the clock. Iris sees almost everything in the city. Hence why they constructed a viewing platform just beneath it, for tourists. The peak of the building sits atop the socket, like a wizard's hat. The woman at the reception wears long, full slashes, and lenses rimmed with a rainbow. When she blinks, the rainbow rotates around turquoise irises. Lenses that perform tricks unnerve me, and I try not to look directly at them. "Good afternoon," she says brightly. "Are you here for an appointment?" I'm inclined to retort I'm here for a wedding, but sarcasm is something my father would scold, and these people will be in control of my eyeballs soon. Yes. I root for the letters in my bag. My name's Linnea Hansen. This is my mother, Eliza Hansen. The woman smiles at me patiently, fingers poised over her keyboard. I realize she's waiting to enter my identification code in the computer. This isn't Orbelle, where everyone knows one another, and addresses you only by your birth name. Without your code in a database somewhere, you might as well cease to exist in the city. Sorry. Wolfo 315, Snake F, I say. Excellent. She taps away at her keyboard, before lifting a handheld scanner. May I? Sure. I lean across the desk, accustomed to this procedure. Keep them closed. I feel a warm light pass over my eyelids as she speaks. My eyes don't need to be open for the scanner to pick up my lenses. I hear a high beep that tells the computer my identification is confirmed. Thank you, Miss Hansen. You'll be with Dr. Frost today at 2 o'clock. She then has to deal with my mother. She phones through to another department to confirm they are expecting her today at 2:45. There is no identification code, no scanning with lasers. They have to make do with her name and date of birth to accept her legitimacy. You would think they'd been asked to verify one of my goats. It takes a good 5 minutes before my mother can sit with me in the waiting area. I'm sat staring at one of the many holograms that are triggered by sensors. There are circular hollows in the walls at HQ that are lit and adorned with all sorts of holographic ornaments that'll move or glow if you look at them. In the restrooms, they have marine seashells that spin slowly. They hang as though in bubbles, suspended in the air. If you swipe a hand through them, they disappear. It's all a trick of the lenses. Most pictures are defaulted to appear like paintings until you approach. Then the picture is animated to perform for you. I'm looking at a plant in the hollow shelf of the waiting room, and it blooms into a beautiful flower for me. The building is quick to learn what images you prefer. Most pictures morph into the night sky when I approach. The stars twinkle, and the galaxy swirls with cosmic color. The man sat near me is also looking at the wall. I wonder what he sees. Everyone sees something different. When my mother joins me, I pick up a magazine and read it to her to pass the time. The front cover features an image of Cornelius Morgan, with his arms folded, staring into space. Inside is a similar picture, but adjoined to some quote about doing the impossible. Everyone has heard of Cornelius Morgan. His face is associated with everything about Wolf. Being everything from brand ambassador and business executive to its sole celebrity endorser. The man has divided the country between those who want to hug him and those who want to slap him. He has a delicate cupid's bow in his top lip, and dark floppy hair, streaked with natural strands of silver. Despite seeming to want to grow old gracefully, he's botoxed around his eyes, so his stare seems especially steady, and his actual age is almost impossible to guess. In truth, he's early 40s, but both young and middle-aged women swoon over him. He constantly addresses himself as a professor of engineering, and always wears a necklace beneath an open collar. A tiger's eye pendant, on a leather string, to match his trademark lenses. Only the rich and famous wear customized lenses. His stare is piercing and calculated. Every shade is tinged with obvious intelligence. He conveys so much knowledge with so few words. He knows how we expect him to look, and he's kept this image for years now. After a while, I realize I'm holding the pages forward, so my mother can view the pictures. It's a habit I can't break. I only hope today they will give us good news. My mother was badly affected by wolf experimentation in her teenage years, and the fresh mountain air was recommended to aid her recovery. However, like many born after her generation, those experimented on passed certain defects onto their children. My own eyes were affected enough to reject most wolf types, and there is a growing concern my vision shall deteriorate rapidly as I age. That understanding haunts me every day. To wake up and not see the mountain or stars anymore would make my existence seem pointless. My mother and I will both be left to sit in darkness, whilst vision technology grows and grows, just out of our reach. The unit I'm taken to is a specialist area called the XY unit. Those who reject regular lenses are brought here, and I sit in the waiting room, opposite a woman and her young daughter. When the girl looks up, I see she was born with partial heterochromia. Her left iris is two different colors. She stares at me in wonder, probably trying to figure out what is so special about me for me to be here. I've sat in this waiting room with so many rare and interesting cases. The last time I was here, I spied a pair of identical twins. I wondered if they were here simply for research. Wolf love unusual case studies. I give the young girl an encouraging smile. I suspect she's here to be fitted with permanent Wolf 3 lenses for the first time. She seems to relax a little, and I guess my own lenses must be teal or lavender. They will have taught her to read colors in her very first year of school. Even without knowing the Wolf color chart, nothing soothes people more than lavender. Within a few minutes, I'm called into the doctor's surgery, and greeted by a familiar pair of violet eyes. Good afternoon, Linnea. It's lovely to see you again. There is no excusing my reaction to Dr. Frost. I've had a crush on him for over 5 years and, if anyone is trained enough to read lenses flawlessly, it's this man. Even if my lenses could lie for me, I know my cheeks are the color of raspberries. He addresses me by my name. Not as Wolf 0315, Snake F. Which I appreciate. You found your way all right, he remarks. The first time I was here, I ventured off down the wrong corridor, got completely lost, and found myself outside the building's simulation room, and Wolf X unit. I was confused as to where I should be, since Wolf 3 appointments are conducted the other side of the building 2 and 2. In the end, a nurse had to escort me to Dr. Frost. It was that nurse who explained to me Wolf X was military. I certainly wasn't where I ought to be. Mirrors are positioned over my head, and white lights force my pupils to shrink. I already underwent the basic eye tests with the nurse, before Dr. Frost called me in. I read long and short distance fine, and my lying skills are nil. When she pricked me with a dull needle on the back of my hand, my eyes turned black. She was perfectly satisfied with me. They ran a very brief cranial nerve exam, and checked my body mass index. These sorts of checks are standard. They don't want anything interfering with your readings that could be attributed to poor health. My results are fine, though I'm told I could gain a little weight. I only have one more moment to debrief, and reacquaint myself with Dr. Frost, before he gets to work. What we will do today, Linnea, is remove these lenses and send them off for a quick screening. If they pass, we will reinsert them and continue for another 12 weeks. If not, we will take you to the simulation room for optical assessment, and you'll be issued temporary lenses until your new ones arrive to be fitted. Okay. Either way, you'll be here for a couple of hours. So now our main focus is getting those current lenses out. I'm going to tilt you back and insert just a few drops. Your entire vision will turn blue for a few minutes. We'll do that whilst we give you your shot, and I'll tell you when we're about to begin. With that, our consultation is at its end. Dr. Frost and his assistant have placed tinted glasses over their own eyes, so the lasers won't affect their lenses. The chair goes back, the lights are adjusted, and I'm told to look up whilst the drops are inserted. I blink rapidly, fluttering my lashes, which makes me feel foolish as Dr. Frost peers down into my face. I almost giggle in embarrassment, before the shot is administered into my arm, and I feel it go limp. It's only a couple of seconds before the drug takes hold, and I start to enjoy the experience. Machines whir into life, my hands grip the chair, and Dr. Frost commentates to me as he goes about applying serum to my eyeballs. I know it's to help dilute the previous solution that helps to stick the lenses in place. I'm allowed to blink a few times, so he can wipe away the serum that spills out of my eyes. Then it's back to business, and the laser scans both eyes. By now I can't see anything. Each socket feels sticky and overflowing, like tiny cups. All the while Dr. Frost asks after my goats, to keep me at ease. Finally I feel a slight pressure, a gentle release, and I'm allowed to blink again. My lenses have been removed. I'm given tissues, an eye wash, further drops to prevent irritation, and a cup of water to drink and calm my nerves. That wasn't so bad, Dr. Frost says. You were very good. I sit up woozily, and take in my surroundings all over again. My lenses usually highlight and define everything, but without them it feels like I'm looking at everything underwater. The sky looks darker outside, as though hours have passed. The marble countertops are suddenly grainy, and Dr. Frost's skin isn't so deliciously chocolate as before. My lenses are popped in a sterile container, labeled, and shipped to one of the on-site laboratories. It feels like they removed an organ, and I watch it leave with an odd feeling of detachment. Dr. Frost doesn't seem finished with me yet. He lets me sip my water as he checks my file. Then his tone changes slightly, and he avoids making eye contact with me. So, Linnea, Wolf 0315. You passed the legal age in January. You can vote, buy alcohol, marry without consent. If this is his way of saying happy birthday, it seems a little unconventional. What's more, you are now eligible to be a part of Wolf's program, for Type 3 candidates. There are 7 new additions this quarter, all entered into the same database as you. All Wolf 3. All highly recommendable. You are aware of the program? Yes. My voice is flat. He knows perfectly well I'm aware of it. We talked about it at length at my last appointment. Or at least, he tried whilst I patiently refused. The program is referred to as Turtle Doves ML. I'm not entirely sure what ML stands for, but Hans and I once tried to guess, and we came up with Mate for Life. It's not a bad guess, even if it's completely wrong. They tried to sign Hans up to it once. It was new and exciting at the time. The program is a matchmaking system, which pairs candidates according to their Wolf readings. Types and 2 can sign up to the program online, and Anna had been talking about signing herself up to see who they would match her with. For her and Hans, it can be seen as harmless fun. But for me, and for Dr. Frost, it's a little bit more serious than that. Since I'm Wolf 3, there are fewer of us and we are considered rare. To match us with each other is nothing short of research. Something they are eager to look into. It's not enough with a result of prior testing on an older generation, they're even more curious to see what will happen to future candidates. You know I don't like the idea, I say, wishing they would bring my mother in here to fight my corner. You might as well weigh up all your options. It won't take much time to enter you into the system and see what happens. That's all we do, enter your wolf code. No questions and no obligation. In fact, it's become something of a craze among young people. Aren't you at all curious? Of course I am. Everyone is. All right, I sigh. If it's not going to interfere with my time too much, and if there's no real obligation, enter me into your system, and let me know if you find someone. It can't hurt, I suppose. Well, as it happens, Dr. Frost says casually, all eligible candidates are put forward on their 18th birthday. We hold any results back until you consent to hear them. In other words, we already found you a match. Of course you did. Fine. Who is it? Wolf0378, Oxem. He looks at my file. Good grief, they've even put it in my medical file. This really is serious research to them. What's his name? I'm not interested in his identification details, although it has already told me his age and his lens type. Of course, he's the same as me, type 3. But now I know he's older than me, by 4 or maybe 5 years. Thank goodness. To a computer that doesn't know any better, my perfect match could be some 83-year-old shepherd from the sticks. Except I know that wouldn't be possible. There are no Wolf 3 candidates over the age of 25. This boy would have been one of the first. Alec Ruman, Dr. Frost says. Alec. I play with the name on my tongue. He's from Newton Bell. Just a short train ride from you. I almost snort at the idea. I have to go find him. Oh Lord, no. You'll be under wolf surveillance at first. How romantic. He's looking forward to meeting you, Dr. Frost says earnestly. He asked for you as soon as he came in. This knocks me back completely. So not only is this boy aware that I exist, he already knows my name, and that I'm scheduled to be here. And that surely means only one thing. You scheduled his next lens appointment for today, didn't you? He's in the building right now? Well. Dr. Frost looks sheepish. Can I back out? You can. He looks crestfallen. Like I said, no obligation, but Miss Hansen, he really is keen to meet you. I wonder how long this Alec has had to think about all this. Much longer than me, it seems. His interest in meeting me feels uneasy. If I don't stick to my guns and keep my wits about me, I'll be selecting wedding themes and colors with the receptionist, by the end of the day. But then I think of the possible benefits. I think of the chances I'll have to meet another boy whilst caring for my mother. Unless I marry Hans one day, I would have probably signed up for turtle doves eventually out of curiosity. Where else am I likely to find a suitor, given my circumstances? And with the company so anxious to achieve a successful match for me, putting substantial funding into their research, surely as a Wolf 3 candidate I'm in with the best chance of getting it right. Could this boy actually be perfect for me? All right, I say. I'll meet him. But I have one condition. Absolutely. No wolf lenses, I insist. I want to see him as he is, whilst I'm like this. Pink, swollen eyes and all. If I'm going to meet him, I'll meet him without the mask to hide behind. Dr. Frost would argue our lenses are anything but a mask. More like windows to see perfectly into a person's being. But he doesn't say anything. He scribbles on my medical notes and hands them to his assistant, instructing for Alec Ruman to come to the ZA unit.